Good morning, everybody. Man, it has been busy around here lately. Right now, I finally have a nice day. I've been trying to light up my brush pile for weeks now, but I just haven't had the right kind of weather for it, so I'm gonna go get that started right now. First step is finding my big match and getting it hooked up, but turns out that propane tank is empty. So I've got to run over to the house and get the propane tank off my grill so I can get the big match started so I can get the fire started. There's always more steps in a process, isn't there? Finished my landscaping. At this point, I don't even know if I have talked about the landscaping on this vlog before. I won't talk about it much now because I have an entire separate video. I documented that whole process and I've worked on it, and the video is mostly cut together, but I am, I don't know, not frazzled, but I've had so many different things going on lately and in such a busy back and forth order. Dogs think I'm a stranger. They just exploded in the house. So many things going on lately that I don't know if I've told you about the landscaping. I got the landscaping video out, but I have done the landscaping. Here's my little propane grill. Gas is off, gas is off. All right, back to the barn. Also, I built a table. I think I have at least shown the start of that in one of these videos. The table is finished. The table actually stayed at my house, and I gave my other one to my brother. The other one I think was nicer. It was cherry. It had a bunch of bow ties and epoxy-filled voids, but it was smaller, and we decided with our family of 4 we needed a bigger table, and my single brother took the smaller, nicer table. It all worked out pretty well for everybody. That is also going to be a video at some point. All the footage is here in my phone. I just have to get it cut together and put out there. And the main reason, now we're trying to hook this up, left-handed threads. There, we got it started. One of the main reasons why she's getting tight, I've been so busy, is because my brother came to visit, so I had to get the table done in time for his visit. And then he and I and some of our old friends who still live in the area went down to the tree farm, set up a really nice camp with tents and a cook tent, and just hung out for a 3-day weekend. It was great. And then as soon as, there was actually 1 day overlap, as soon as my brother was leaving, Bruce and Drew, if you don't listen to the podcast, you might not know who they are, and you should. I do a podcast with these guys. It's called We Build a Thing. This is Bruce Ulrich and Drew Fisher. Drew is of Fisher's Shop, and Bruce is from the Bruce A. Ulrich channel. They came for a visit, and the visit had a lot going for it. What did we do? First day they were here, we drove down into Iowa and toured a couple of different tool facilities that are right there. I had no idea how close I was to a couple of these manufacturers. One of them was just called the Original Saw Company, and they make incredible radial arm saws. Big, heavy-duty, awesome radial arm saws. I used to have a radial arm saw in my shop. It was a cheap, flimsy DeWalt one. I've got to go get one more thing. Okay, so part of this tour was he was showing us a whole bunch of saws throughout the ages. And he's like, here's where they started, here's where they got, here's really the best of the era. And then here is where they started to cheapen them. And then here's where they almost completely went away. Well, the one I had was where they really started to cheapen them. So I really liked my radial arm saw. Mine was a bad example of a radial arm saw. Good, I'm still recording. I've had that problem before and it's not a great thing. Who's making noise over here? Anyway, that tour was really cool. That's only an hour from my house. I had no idea it was there. Oh, there we go. We have kids taking care of chickens. How you doing? Good. Good. They're glad to get their scratch this morning, aren't they?
Yeah.
And what are you doing?
Now I'm putting their scratch out in their outdoor pen.
Okay. Hey, you see that little cutie? Little orange?
Yeah.
They can't seem to break into it. You should just stomp on it when you get in there.
Okay.
Here come the piranhas.
Yep.
There you go, chickens. What do you think? So anyway, radial arm saw tour, very, very cool. What I was saying was I ended up selling off my cheap one, my kind of bad version of one, and bought a compound miter saw. And I have a very nice compound miter saw. I like it a lot. I built a whole station for it. But I liked using a radial arm saw better, if I'm being honest. So I'm hoping I can keep a relationship going with these guys and try to actually get a radial arm saw here in the shop. You know, this is my compound miter saw and the station that I built for it. It's all very nice, and I would replace all of that in a heartbeat for one of these radial arm saws. So that is a goal of mine, to work that out with them. Here we go. Tripod. Can't film building a fire without somebody to hold the phone. Go. Ooh, check this out. This is jumping around in the story. This is a sheet of walnut veneered 1/4 inch plywood. I was on a discount rack at a Rockler store. I'll get to that in just a second. So after we left the radial arm saw company, the original saw company, door. One-handed is really tough sometimes. After we left that, we drove down towards Des Moines, which is where Kreg Tools is from. And if you haven't heard of Kreg, you've heard of Kreg. Everyone's heard of Kreg. And that was also incredible. It was huge. I could not believe how big that building was. And rather, it's a brand new building. They just finished building it. They're still in their old one for manufacturing. And the new one is like distribution and engineering and sales and marketing and R&D, and man, it's just really cool. And it was rather than just being some big factory building, I would describe it more like a campus. It was more like going into like Apple or Google's office than it was going into some tool company's office. It was really cool, and they treated us like royalty. They fed us. The current owner, CEO, president, I forget what his title was, but the bigwig took a bunch of time out of his day to come sit in a boardroom and just talk to us and listen to our ideas and, you know, pitch him projects and tool ideas. And he was into it. He was into all of it. And then we got a tour of the whole place and saw how the whole new technology of the distribution works. They had pallet racks that were almost 3 stories tall. How do you get a forklift up there? Well, barcodes and laser guided forklifts, that helps a lot. From there, we went and saw their like photo studio, their video studio. They actually have a really incredible stage set up to launch new products, to do videos, to show how-tos, that kind of thing. It was really, really cool. All right, hold on. I got to get this fire started. And then we'll get back to talking about this trip that Bruce and Drew were here for. Yep, you're still in it.
It'll be a lot different next year. We're doing the 4-foot base right now, like a 39-inch.
And he wanted to see how power hose works, so he drilled them together. And I'm like, you can't break them. You could grab it and put it out. He was cracking the wood from it. Right, people. Right.
You kind of see the boxes going by as we walk by.
All right. So there's actually no breeze at all right now, which is great, and there's not supposed to be one. Normally I would start on either an end or a side or whatever is the furthest downwind, so that the burn has to fight the wind to go into it, and that makes it burn slower. If you started at the upwind side and the wind blows it across it, the whole thing goes up real fast and it gets bigger than I'd like. I got the barn, it's far enough away and it's steel sided, I'm not worried about it. But I also like to, well, let's turn that off before we turn that on. I also just like to be safe about these things and plan them all out. This here is my big match. Turn the gas on, hit the igniter, which seems to be dead. Ah, crud. There we go. And then just get it down here into some branches. We'll go right here and let her rip. Farmer planted his field. There's a little bit to that story that I'm not too thrilled about, but I don't like burning when he's got crops in the field. So he planted it, but right now they haven't come up. So I'm gonna get them burned. Well, get the fire burned while it's still underground, because I don't want to accidentally scorch any of his little plants. This should keep the neighbor happy. We'll leave it at that. Anyway, after the Kreg tour, we went to both of the tree farms. We went out to the forested one first, which is where I had my camping trip the weekend before. And for the camping trip, there were no bugs. It was amazing. We timed it perfectly for great weather and no bugs. And then 3 days later, we went through there after the tour, and the bugs were so bad, we all but ran through that farm just to take a quick look at it. Poor Drew, he was having back trouble while he was here. Just making sure the camera's still rolling. I've had a little trouble with that lately. Poor Drew kind of wrecked his back, so then he had to sit in an airplane, sit in an airport, sit in a van for a full day, and then get drug around on all these tours and stuff. It was a little bit rough on him, but anyway, we went to that one. Then we went out to the other tree farm by a lake. I put Drew on a golf cart and rode him around on that one. That one always gets wind off of the lake, so the bugs aren't usually as bad. It helps keep the bugs away anyway. So the next day we went out to the same tree farm and ran the sawmill. And Bruce and Drew had never really seen that process before. I think they've watched it, of course, but I don't know that they'd ever seen it in person. So we threw a couple of logs on there. We got one of my little trailers full of logs. We ended up just sawing up a couple of cherry logs, a bunch of walnut logs, and one poplar log that was just to be 5-foot 2x4s. Stuff to let my kids use on their tree fort. And pretty much wore them out, went home, and cooked ribs on the smoker for several hours that night. Then the next day, we just kind of hung out. We didn't have any more plans after that. We did just a little bit of shooting over in the yard at the pistol range, but nothing too exciting that day. And then the following day was the day they flew out, and we actually ended up at the Burnsville Rockler store for several hours doing a meetup. So anybody in the area we'd kind of put it out on the podcast and on our individual social media stuff. The three of us took over that Burnsville store, and that was a lot of fun. We had several hours of a bunch of people coming to see us, or even people who came into the store for Memorial Day weekend and realized, oh crap, these people are here, and we just had a great time. Went out to eat with a few of them afterwards, and that's it. Sent them on a plane, and I came home. I think I slept for most of the next day. And now I'm just resetting. I'm getting my fire burned today. I got my shop cleaned up, and I'm looking forward to the next projects. I just talked to Gunflint. My Elite upgrade kit is supposed to be shipping out this week, so maybe by next week I'll be installing that. What is the other big thing? So that means I need to get power run from my panel all the way across the shop to where the spindle is going to be, because I'm going to put my spindle kit in there. I think we can get this thing turned off now. It seems like we have a fire. And yeah, then I'm just going to thoroughly clean and organize the shop, probably get this cut up and sent out right away, and then I'm going to have the landscaping video and the table videos. They're going to be more vlog style than project style, but I'll have them coming out right after, so it's out of order, but it is what it is. And then with the shop clean and reset and ready to go, I just need to pick from my list which project is next, what I'm going to tackle next. So the fire is going well. It's been burning right down. I've been pushing it around with the tractor a little bit to keep the pile on top of the heat so it just smolder all day long. But I've also been back in this junky little shed, because in the way back there where the drill is, I used to have, I guess, a pigeon coop. I was using pigeons to try to train dogs, and I couldn't catch any pigeons, so I never had any in there. And now I'm tired of looking at it. I'm gonna, I think, repurpose this shed to either be a deer blind or maybe storage. I'm actually thinking about making it target storage, an archery target. So I'm gonna take all the siding off, I'm gonna put a new roof on it, and I might make one of the wide sides hinge up so I can keep it out in the yard and have an archery target in there that never gets rained on, and then I can just lift the side up when I want to shoot into it. But while I was in here working on taking the pigeon coop out, I was looking at my ceiling, and this was like an attempt to try to give birds less of a space to nest in here, because it's not really sealed up. I thought, well, we'll see about taking that off. And then I looked over here and saw all of these birds who have been hiding from me this whole time, thinking, please don't notice that we're here. So you guys are fine. You guys can stay for now. I'll get out of here.